Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome to Creepy Conversations. I'm Nikki. Yes, you heard that right.
Woo!
Do I still have to explain this? No. If you want explanation, you all have to check out Patreon. Anyway, introduce yourself.
That was so funny. Introduce yourself. Okay, teacher. Oh, by the way, I'm Kalai. This is our first full episode of season 3.
Well, we make it sound so good. Like, yeah, we're on season 3 because we're back from hiatus. But low-key, you don't know that if you haven't been listening to us before.
Yup, and first episode of 2021.
Yes.
By the way, we have a lot of new stuff coming for you. Not here on the regular podcast, but on Patreon.
Yeah. Oh, let me go ahead and thank those that actually donated on Patreon. That we have here 2 patrons. Should we call them that? I don't even know. Thank you so much, Jane R. and Amanda T. I am having a very difficult time reading because of my contacts. I don't know why I decided to have a blind eye right now.
That's just how the way creepy conversation goes. And oh, by the way, thank you so much to Jane and Amanda. That truly meant so much to us, because that's how we do. And
actually, I also want to apologize because we haven't been very active on Patreon, but we're gonna make it up to you guys and give you more content there. So
yes, you're gonna be drowning in content.
It's
not a lie, I swear. It's for reals.
Biting off more than we can chew. Wait, is that right? Yes.
Yep. Yes. Yep. Which we're trying to chew it. Anyway, spring is in the air for our Western listeners and summer for us here in Southeast Asia, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know why I said that.
Yes, you're right. You don't know your seasons.
Right.
Yeah, that was correct.
That was correct. Because we're in a tropical country. It's summer throughout the year.
It's either summer or rain. We don't even have winter.
That's just it. Yeah, we don't, whatever. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about something really heavy today, so I hope you guys are ready. I hope everyone is holding it in together. We're almost done with the pandemic. I know for a fact that there are some of you that have vaccines already, so good for you. I honestly cannot wait to have mine because I want to travel. So,
oh my god.
What about you, Gab?
Yeah, I want it for the same Nikki.
Sorry, Nick. We haven't talked in a long time though, so that's why.
That's fine. No, I like this because I think it will also show our listeners how these things work. But what really matters is that people try. What were we talking about again?
For vaccines.
Right. We have it here already, but I can only register to get one in June because they're doing it in stages. But yeah, hopefully it comes real soon because I also want to travel out. It's getting boring here. I'm just literally trying whatever I can to keep me busy and sane. But yeah, what are we covering today?
So today we're going to be covering the Zama suicide pact slayings, or the Twitter killer. I think it's important to cover this because a lot of us are socializing with people through social media. So, be careful, and also trigger warning, there will be a lot of talk about very graphic and disturbing information and suicide and suicidal thoughts. So yeah, my sources for today for this episode are BBC News, NPR, Ranker, Straits Times, my crime library. So yeah, the Zama suicide pact slayings, or let's just call it Twitter killer, to let it be known that there are people that you need to watch out for on Twitter, obviously, because Twitter is such a fucking toxic place, but also there are killers there. So Twitter killer was multiple homicides that happened in Zama, Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan, that happened in between August to October 2017. Zama is a city that's almost an hour away from Tokyo, and it's also home to the United States Camp Zama Army base. So yeah, if you guys have been there, that's it. The suspect.
I love how you're like, if you guys have been there, and then you don't know what comes next. So it's just like, that's it.
Obviously, we haven't done this in a long time because we don't have our flow yet.
We're just winging it.
Yep, we're just winging it. But yeah, the suspect, his name is Takahiro Shiraishi. I think that's his name. I'm pretty sure because I've had a lot of students with this name and they haven't corrected me. But yeah.
So you're probably right.
That's his name. He was caught on November 2017 in his apartment where police found the dismembered bodies of 8 young women, including 3 high school girls and 1 male. He lured them by pretending he was going to complete suicide with them. And, that in it of itself is already really bad. Like, if you see someone posting online about hurting themselves, you help them by either listening to them or being their friend, or better yet, refer them to a professional or whatever who can actually help. Also, if you have a friend who's going through like that and you have the money, pay for the session. That would be great too.
That was such a trip. You think you're gonna commit suicide with someone? Excuse me, what?
Yeah. This dude is he's really disgusting, by the way. I know some of you will get pissed because he's such a fucking asshole. So yeah. Also, by the way, we'll be posting a link in the show notes on signs to watch out if you have a friend that needs help, and where to get help just in case you need help yourself. So yeah, there's no shame in that. I also am talking to a counselor. We're all going through shit. So, who the fuck is Takahiro Shiraishi? Not much is known about his childhood exactly, because he won't talk unless he's getting paid. He's such a fucking asshole. He won't talk about, his childhood unless, there would be, an interview who would pay him. So, all we know, based on, the interviews of his, families and friends, that he had a pretty normal childhood. He was very into sports, like baseball, and he was, pretty much mediocre in class, which is, what up? Me too.
Hi.
He just basically coasted through. There was nothing special about him. His classmates said that he seemed like he was normal. However, the only thing that stood out for them was that he was known to have enjoyed playing the choking game when he was a teen. And in fact, there was a time when he actually passed out while playing it.
Wait, so he choked
Yeah,
himself?
he would ask people to choke him too. I don't know what the hell choking game is. How do you ask a person to, dude, choke me? That is not something you say to a friend.
I hate how people can just, take that clip of you saying, choke me.
Yo, OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding.
But,
But yeah. Back to Shiraishi. Let's just call him that. It looks like choking was more than just a game for him, because investigators say that majority of his victims showed signs of being strangled. Not that he killed them through strangulation, but it showed signs that he did that. But his ex-girlfriend did come forward to vouch for him and say that he was a very gentle person, and that, there wasn't anything wrong throughout their relationship that she could tell. So I don't know, maybe he was just keeping it from the people that he knew so that he could be whatever he wants to be with the people that don't know him. So yeah, maybe he just one day woke up and just chose to be an asshole. The only thing that happened to him that was traumatizing during his childhood was that his parents divorced. And, that's not really a reason to, go batshit insane.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems a bit much.
Yeah.
So it's probably not the only thing that happened in his life, but that could be triggering.
Yeah. But he won't talk because he wants to get paid.
Yeah. We should do that.
What we know is that as an adult, he began to distance himself from his family and began working in the sex industry, where he would lure women into sex work in Kabuchiko in Shinjuku, Tokyo, which is like known as the sleepless town because it's home to like hosts and hostess clubs and nightclubs and love hotels and massage parlors. So you guys get
basically red light district.
Yeah. You know, working in the sex industry, that it's like fine. But what's not okay was that he had an encounter with the police for attempting to trick young women into sex work and was known in the area as the Creepy Scout. There was even a tweet circulating with a picture of his face warning others to keep their distance from him because he was also using Twitter to force girls into sex work. So, you know, that's not... Sex work
not cool.
is supposed to be, like, with consent, you know?
Everything needs to... Yeah. It's not for everyone, to be honest. Like, trust me, I am. Anyway... But, like, the fact that you force people to do something is just
that's
wrong.
true.
And tricking them is
Even worse. And he's, like, tricking barely legal... Like, he's even tricking teenagers, high school girls, and, like, people in their early 20s. So he's such an asshole. I just want to punch him.
No, because, like, I think they're easy targets because it's that time wherein you want to explore. At the same time, you're also very gullible.
Also, because it's through Twitter, you're usually, like, on Twitter, you meet, like, a lot of cool people. I've met a lot of cool people on Twitter.
Yeah,
so you're like,
same.
This person's probably okay, and then the next thing you know, they're, like, doing shit to you. That's not okay. So yeah, Shiraishi used this experience to learn how to manipulate women and gain their trust, which he then used as a tactic to, like, lure his victims. He kind of, like, was practicing with the sex work thing on how to, like, trick women into sex work. He was, like, kind of practicing on how to lure people to victimize them. We don't know how he escalated and how he got the idea to victimize, like, very vulnerable people. But in June of 2017, Shiraishi told his father that there's no meaning in life and I don't know what I'm living for. That's what he said, which is not an excuse to go out and kill people, you know?
But also, his family, did they, like, try to help him
I
out
don't
of that?
know. I'm assuming, you know, because this is Asian family, Asian culture, you know, sadly, Asian people don't believe in, like, bad mental health.
Mental health is, like, myth to
people
us.
will literally just say, drink tea, or, like, you know, get some fresh air.
You'll get over it.
You'll get over it. Pray. That's the shit that we get a lot. But, you know, that's not enough.
But that was already a cry for help.
But his father said, because he was living with his dad at that time, he seemed to be like, okay, eventually. And then he borrowed money from his father so he could move out. So his father was, like, really supportive because, like, you know, he was finally, like, wanting to do stuff. So his father was very supportive, and he moved out of his flat to Zama on August 22. That house where he moved into would eventually be the place where he would commit the horrendous acts that he did. He used, like I mentioned earlier, he used Twitter to look for people who had posts about hurting themselves, and he even had posts about wanting to harm himself as well. I don't know if he was just posting those to, like, manipulate people or if that's what he really felt, but this dude is so disgusting. Another trigger warning, by the way, to those who are listening. His Twitter handle is @HangingPro, and his avatar is a manga character of a man with red abrasions or scars, what look like from a noose around his avatar's neck. And then the avatar also wore, like, a noose as a necktie, and then it had cuts and abrasions on the avatar's neck and wrists. So, like, he had, like, a sick inside joke or what. It was like kind of like that.
It's starting to make me wonder what his affinity with choking or like asphyxiation or the neck thing is, where that came from. Because it's like, it started when he was in high school and then it kind of never got.
Who did that to you where you were like, I want to do this to other people too? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. I think he was like looking for a pact, you know? It's like, I'm into this and I want friends, so I want you guys to be in on this with me, whether you like it or not, which is scary.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Like, he had something that we don't know because, you know,
Definitely.
Yeah. And then he would invite them over because once he found the victims through Twitter, he would invite them over, incapacitate them, and then he would sexually assault them. And then, according to him, he would kill them. He killed most of them on the day that he met them. Like, he brought them to his home. Half of the women that Shiraishi killed were just 17 years old, and the others were in their early 20s, and only one was in like their late 20s. And like, women in Japan are very petite, and a lot of them look young, right? So yeah, he told police he killed his first victim, a female acquaintance. Unfortunately, we don't know the names of the victims, so we can't like have a tribute to them, because in Japan they're very private about those things. Even during the court hearings, the names were like censored out of the media. Yeah. So that's it. So it was a female acquaintance. Soon after he killed her, he spent 3 days dismembering her body. And then the single male victim was the boyfriend of Shiraishi's first victim. They previously had spent, the three of them, the first victim and the male victim, they and Shiraishi had spent the evening at dinner together, like after they met online. So once they met online, they went for dinner, and then he invited the... Excuse me. Excuse me.
Oh my god, you just gave me COVID and the rest of the listeners.
I'm so sorry. I have allergic rhinitis, but yeah. And then he invited, the girl the next day to his apartment, and then that's where he did those stuff. So...
Right. No, wait. So, the first time was with the girlfriend, with the girl and the boyfriend, and then the second time was just
the girlfriend. The first time was them having dinner. That's right. What, like, the day after they met online. And then the next day after the dinner was Shiraishi inviting the girl over, where he murdered the girl and spent the next 3 days dismembering her. And then when the boyfriend started looking for the girl, he went to Shiraishi's house, and then Shiraishi killed him because he was looking for the girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he realized that he wouldn't like mess with couples or someone who was in a relationship, because eventually someone will look for them. So he was just basically then started targeting women who were, who needed mental health help on Twitter. Because, you can just say, oh, she's gone and she was, like, suicidal. Maybe she completed suicide somewhere and stuff like that. So,
you know what's fucked up? Like, he made it kind of like a trial and error thing. As if, like, people were guinea pigs and he was trying to figure things out. It's crazy.
He's, like, a different kind of manipulator. He was doing experiments and, like, you know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, he was...
We don't even have words for him.
Exactly. I'm still trying to digest the whole thing. That's why I have nothing to say, but at the same time, I have a lot to say.
It really is so disgusting because of the way he did. Like, he had specific victims. Like, this is really specific to go on Twitter and look for people like this, So unfortunately, you can't trust anyone online. That's it. And even if, I understand the victims, because when you're down, when you need someone to talk to, and then all of a sudden someone's like, hey, what's up? Like a total stranger, and you don't have anyone in your life to talk to about these things, especially when, like in Asian culture, you can't even talk to your family about being sad, because most likely your parents will be like, I'm doing a lot of things and I'm not even sad. Like, it'll become a
It
sermon.
becomes a competition.
Yeah, that too.
Like, who has it worse kind of thing. So instead of feeling better, you just feel more shitty.
There's a difference between like, dude, I feel like shit too, high five, like that, and saying like, I feel much worse than you. You have no right to complain. Like that shit. Throw yourself in the trash can if you're that kind of person.
Yeah, you just feel invalidated. So it makes sense, like, people find connection, like, it's easier to connect to people who get you because you don't get that kind of sympathy from the people you think are close to
and
you.
to be honest, I used to be like the competition kind of person until I went to therapy, and then because that's how we grew up with, like, that's how we were treated by, like, not just our parents, but like external factors as well. Like, even in school, you have teachers that are like, you have no right to complain. I'm checking whatever, how many hundreds of papers. Like, your teachers do that to you too. So, correct yourself. It's okay, because that's how society told us to think. Like, correct yourself and then be more empathetic to the people who are going through the same shit that you are going through. You never know.
Just get better.
Yeah, get better, people.
I love that. Get better.
With the rainbow and everything. So back to Shiraishi. His downfall was on October 24th, 2017. Scorpio season. A man reported his missing 23-year-old sister from the Hachoiji, which I think is a town in Japan, to the local office.
You're just like, I think.
I was like, I didn't notice that there's this place that I didn't look up on whatever, but that's the place. What up? So eventually investigators started to look into the case. Investigators found a CC, which is, by the way, like a good thing, because usually when people are like missing, police are either like, she probably ran away, or like she probably completed suicide somewhere else, like that. But good thing on this one that the investigators actually did their job, and they found the CCTV footage of a woman walking with a male that they later identified as Takahiro Shiraishi. In the footage, the pair were in the general vicinity of his apartment, walking by the railroad tracks. The missing young woman's brother did some of his own digging and began checking his sister's online accounts, the information that could lead to where she was, and he discovered that she was suicidal and that she had been communicating online with a man whom she had made a suicide pact with. Segue a little bit. This is what actually my sister and I are doing. We have each other's passwords just in case something happens to one of us. Like, at least we can do the digging.
I should do that.
Like, we trust each other so much that we're like, I actually don't care what happens much to her life, so that I don't like go log into her account right now and like go dig on her shit, but like we just have it for like emergency purposes. So yeah,
I should do that. Like, no one knows anything about me. If I die right now, I don't know how I'm gonna send all the money I have to my family. I don't know, like, no one's gonna know. I'm just gonna be What? I'm just gonna be dying.
Gabby's gonna be died, and then no one will know.
R.I.P. English. Anyway, let's move on from this. I am so embarrassed.
But yeah, it doesn't need to be like your sibling if you don't have a good relationship with them, but just somebody that you trust. If you don't know who, I think Outlook has like a send email in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, just schedule that email someday when you think you're dying. Just keep moving the date.
It's like, hey Siri, if I die, send this email.
Can Siri do that?
I don't know. Elon Musk, wait, no, Steve Jobs.
Whoever is in charge of Apple. But yeah,
I hate myself.
just have a backup plan or whatever, just in case you go missing, or like you never know what happens to you, so at least someone can like find whatever. So yeah.
Yep.
Her brother posted his face, and then one female follower told him that she recognized the handle, the @HangingBro. And then the brother asked her to contact the person while he also reported the case to police. It turned out that Shiraishi had reached out to her brother's friend when he saw one of her tweets, which again, trigger warning. The tweet said, "I want to die, but doing so alone is terrible. I'm looking for someone to die with me." So that's the tweet of the girl that Shiraishi probably fucking bookmark or whatever, because he's so disgusting. But with the assistance of this woman, they were able to arrange a meeting with Shiraishi. She was able to convince Shiraishi to go to a train station. That's where the investigators followed him to his house. When the police showed up to his apartment asking if he had any information concerning the 23-year-old woman, Shiraishi just coldly said, "Inside the cooler," pointing at the cooler. There, they found the decapitated remains of 9 people. They were stored around the apartment in various containers, and the state of decomposition varied, indicating that the killer killed his victims over the course of around 2 months. Several heads and a plethora of various other limbs and remains were stored in those different containers. They also found 2 heads in another cooler covered in cat litter in a futile attempt to conceal the stench of death. Obviously, that part was copy-pasted because I do not use those words.
But, like, okay, he's really dumb. He's, like, fucking stupid.
He is.
Like, for one, he couldn't even cover his tracks, and 2, why would you think that would work?
Exactly.
Like, have your cat shit on death just so it doesn't smell that way? Like,
and also,
sir, are you
it kind of
okay?
worked a little bit because, eventually his neighbor confessed to a reporter that he did indeed notice a foul odor coming from the killer's apartment, but they couldn't identify what it was because they never smelled something like that before. So he was like, I think he was too confident that these people are too fucking sheltered to be like, that's a dead body smell right there. They just thought that it was sewage. Which is like, honestly, I probably would think the same thing
enough.
too.
Yeah. But you would want that to get checked, because, like, that's gross. It smells really bad.
Yeah.
And we should know.
Right? Usually you're like, that might be like a dead rat, but if it's like a dead body, I feel like it's gonna smell like 1,000 dead rats, and you'd be like, something's not right there.
Like, not it.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I think we come from trash, so listeners, yes, creepers, we know what we're talking about.
We climbed our way out of that trash can.
Exactly. We can even tell the difference between a firework and a gunshot.
That's true.
That's how trash our background.
That's so true. And also the thing is, because I live in the side of the road, so we have a lot of like roadkill every now and then. You know the difference of the smell between a rat and a fucking dog and a fucking cat. Like, there's a smell to them that you're like, you know that the thing that died is bigger because the smell is stronger.
Yeah, it's more intense.
That's just an advice, just in case you smell something and you're like, whoa, this isn't an animal. This is probably...
It's like, is a ninja turtle here?
Yeah. So just know that's that. The size matters. So, all in all,
Burnings!
there were 240 pieces of bone fragments belonging to the people. And he also stored them in like toolboxes aside from coolers because he was like out of like storage. And these bone fragments are currently being tested for not currently, but at that time, why didn't I edit this? At that time being reported, it was being tested for identification. Various items belonging to some of the victims, such as bags, cell phones, and IDs, were also found in his apartment, which is like, you just know that this dude was overconfident and stupid because he never threw, like, it's so easy to throw these shit away. Like, you can, this isn't an advice to the murderers, but like, you can go to different garbage dumps and throw that shit away.
I mean, like, it doesn't take a pro to know these. Like, it's
I feel like he was overconfident, and Shiraishi told the police that he kept the decapitated bodies because he didn't know how to dispose of them, and he feared being caught. But he did hack the flesh off the bodies and threw it out in the trash. That's why they only found bones and some of the body parts, like the head, because you can't throw a head in the trash.
He had a lot of time. He waste.
He did.
Does he have a job? Like,
he had a job in the sex work industry. And he was also, prior to this, like when he was still moving with his dad in February, he was also jailed for being attached to like a crime organization in Tokyo. So he was probably doing some shady shit. That's why he had a lot of time. Criminals, they have a lot of time. You'd think that criminals do crime 24/7, but no. They have a lot of time.
This makes me wonder, like, what's paying the bills? If he spent most of his time just hacking away at bones, and I don't think that's something you can do fairly quick. I mean, I can't even peel a vegetable. So it's like, how much time did he have for actual work to pay his bills?
Yeah, maybe he was like dealing drugs or whatever. They didn't really say. They just said that he was like part of like a crime group. So I'm assuming it's drug related or whatever. Or probably him forcing people into sex work. Maybe he still had savings. I don't know.
Oh my god, working harder than Kris Jenner.
Yeah. He also deleted messages that he sent to previous victims in an attempt to cover his tracks. I don't know why he did that, but whatever, it didn't work. Shiraishi said that he was shocked that he was arrested, and when he thinks about his arrest, he can't sleep at night. That's how confident he was, that he was like, he didn't even think that he was going to get arrested. Confident and stupid.
What?
Maybe that's the key to confidence.
It amazes me.
Yeah.
Being stupid. I mean, we've already proven this Trump supporter.
Yeah, and yeah. Not gonna say anything else, but a lot of the supporters of some certain politicians are... So yeah. He also expressed regret over not turning off the 9th victim's mobile phone because the weak signals also led to his arrest, because, it was one of the things that were presented as evidence during his trial, that they were like, yeah, that's it. Whenever he's asked for details about the incident, initially he would say, I will respond faithfully if I'm paid in labor. He suggested willingness to exchange letters or write a book depending on how much money he can get. This man is such a fucking hustler in the wrong way. I swear to God.
Write a book! Like, bitch, you could have just written your memoir before they asked for it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
So, throughout the trial, Shiraishi's lawyers argue that the victims... This is... By the way, fucking lawyers, not all, but some, Like, his lawyers are fucking heartless. They argued that victims had agreed to be killed because they were suicidal, so the charges should be reduced to murder with consent, which is because initially the main charge was death by hanging. So that's why this is what the lawyers were doing so that he wouldn't be hanged, and the sentence would be lower. And if he was charged with murder with consent, his sentence would be within 6 months to 7 years, which isn't right. But Shiraishi disagrees with his lawyers. He told one of the major newspapers in Japan that he killed without the consent of his victims. And he even said there were bruises on the back of the victim's head, meaning that he would hit them in the back of the head to incapacitate them. And then he said, I did that so they wouldn't resist. This man literally is misplaced confidence. That's what he has.
What?
Yeah.
Well, it probably appealed to him because hanging and, you know, how he likes the choke thing. But, jeez.
But so he literally was like, nah, I did it. I am ruthless. I am this shit. Like, he didn't want to be, you know, charged with a lesser sentence. He literally was like, this is what I did. Like, I just wanna, who are the other prisoners that are imprisoned with him? Can y'all beat the shit out of him? Because he just,
Okay, you know what? I'm confused, because first off, he was like, oh, I'm surprised that I'm actually arrested, and then during his arrest, he was like, yeah, I did it. It's like, dude, make up your mind, what do you want?
No, he was kind of like pissed at the fact that he got caught, but now that he is caught, he doesn't want it to be, I think he thinks that him actually killing these people without consent is like a badass thing or something. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's what he thinks. That's why he corrected the people. I don't know. I can't understand his sick mind at all. But yeah, he pled guilty just recently on October 1, 2020. That's how long the case took, because this happened in 2017. And
yes.
He was just like fully charged on October 1, 2020. The judge, Nao Kuniyano, who delivered the verdict, called the crimes cunning and cruel, and he found the defendant fully responsible for his actions because, you know, they said that it was murder with consent, but yeah, the judge didn't agree and said that he was fully responsible for the killings. The judge also said none of the 9 victims consented to be killed, including silent consent. It is extremely grave that the lives of the 9 young people were taken away. The dignity of the victims were trampled upon. Shiraishi told the court last month that he did not plan to appeal against his sentence, and that it's not stated that if he changed his mind or whatever. The father of one of the victims told the court last month that he would never forgive Shiraishi even if he dies. Even now, when I see a woman of my daughter's age, I mistake her for my daughter. This pain will never go away. Give her back to me. That's what the dad said. On Tuesday, the father of another victim, who was 17 years old, told one of the reporters that the death sentence was appropriate, and he said, I feel like I want to get revenge, but bereaved families can't do anything. I don't know how to vent my anger. And one of the brothers of one of the victims said that his heart died when he heard Shiraishi's testimony. He said, it didn't sound like he regretted it. I felt like I was being hurt with a sharp knife over and over again. So all in all, after the entire thing, the judge said that the case had provoked a great anxiety in society because social networks are so commonly used. The murders also had a global impact. The murders prompted a change on Twitter, which amended its rules to state users should not promote or encourage suicide or self-harm, which is like, it took a murder for you guys to change your rules. But Twitter's chief executive, Jack Dorsey, did speak about the case. He did say that the case was extremely sad. Was there something that they could have done to stop this? I don't know. I don't think so.
It could have happened anywhere, but it's just annoying that, like, okay, for one, I think the killer needed help from the get-go, which he did not get. But that doesn't mean that he can also just get off this with no, like, repercussions.
I agree. I think the only thing that was the thing that Twitter could have done was to have, like, a report button or whatever for posts like this, like suicidal posts.
Yeah.
Like, for them to hide it, or, like, I don't know, like, send a message that there's this line that you can call or something like that, to be more, like, sympathetic rather than just allowing posts like that. Like, even if it's a joke, you know, a lot of actually suicidal people joke about being suicidal, but there actually are, like, they don't know how to express it, so they joke about it, and then they, like, joke about posting it. So, you know, I know there are a lot of memes about being depressed and shit, but posting about, like, one of his, I think this could have been one of his victims, the girl who helped with the case, what she said was, like, I want to die, but dying alone is terrible. You know, that shit, you know, that shouldn't be okay to just stay on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, that shit is something very serious. And as we know now, there are people who are hunters on these kinds of people. Like, they prey on, like, very vulnerable people. So it should be tagged or flagged, like, hidden, so that people won't take advantage of it.
Or they can have, like, these banners. You know how they do it? I think it's mostly on Instagram, wherein you post about COVID, or you just mention about COVID.
Yeah, and there's like
put, like, this banner info thing. Yeah, I mean, they can do the same. If you need help,
agree.
Then you can call this number.
Yeah,
or something.
I agree with that.
Like,
and
don't just leave it there.
That's the end of the case. I know this is such a bummer case, but we wanted to raise a light on the main issue, which is, in 2020, for the first time in 11 years, suicide rates in Japan went up. Most surprising, while male suicides fell slightly, rates among women surged by 15%. And in October, the female suicide rate in Japan went up by more than 70% compared to October 2019. So, you know, the pandemic has taken a toll on us. So, you know, the stress and everything, we're all going through some shit, different shit. We're all collectively sad as a group because we can't go anywhere, or if we can, it's not the same as it used to be before. There's so many businesses that have closed and shit like that. So yeah, if you are feeling sadder than the usual, if you feel depressed, you know, depression, it doesn't really, like, you don't feel sad, it just suddenly comes, right? It happens. You can't tell. Like, you could be in a party, like, it could suddenly hit you and shit like that. So, you know, instead of, like, I would advise against going on Twitter or social media to post about how you feel. If you want to go online, there are so many apps out there right now that have people that can help you. I know there's 7 Cups and other stuff. There are websites that can help you if you're going through some stuff. Like I said, we will link it in the show notes, and yeah.
I just find it annoying that these kinds of help are so fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, why? I mean, I get that you as a doctor or, like, as a therapist, receiving these kinds of negative energy is also not good for your health, but, like, the government should come up with something, and I know the government is listening, so y'all better take notes.
I agree.
I mean, like, do something about it.
Yeah.
It's like a community
Exactly.
problem.
And as we all know, mental health issues are also the cause of crimes. You know, it can help lessen the crime if the government can actually do something to assist us with this shit that we're going through. You know what I mean?
And I mean, like, if you just want to find something that will keep your spirits high, you can always subscribe to us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts to, or maybe even become a patron on patreon.com/creepyconvos.
And follow us on social media. Instagram at Creepy Convos. I think both in Instagram and Twitter.
We're Creepy Conversations on Instagram because someone took the name.
Creepy Convos, yeah.
I'm still salty about that.
I mean, we're not gonna solve your problems, but at least, hey, you can be sad with someone like us and laugh about your depression with us.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna help you through things by keeping your spirits high.
Yeah, that's the only thing we can do. But yeah. Also, by the way, if ever you have any stories, not stories about, depression. What I mean is like creepy conversations that you want to share with us, you can email it to us at creepyconvos@gmail.com, or you can submit a story at our website. It's up.
Right! We're launching our website.
creepyconversations.com. You can also, if you want to learn more about this case, it's also in our website. So yeah.
You'll find everything there. Thanks for creeping, you fucking creeper.
And remember, the government is always watching you. Bye.